This is the Levels Network. I am Justin Horo. That is Triple OG. And when I say that person is Triple OG, Willie Mason. He is currently in Perth. And we've got the bro. Where is the point? Point towards him. The bro, Lukey Stowe, is right behind us, doing his best work as per, mate. But let's start off with you, Mace. You're in Perth at the moment. How has it been over there? You touched down yesterday. Have you got the Origin vibes?
Not yet. Not yet. I got in yesterday, Arvo, so it was pretty much nearly dark. So it was I'm staying right in the city, so I think by today, I reckon I'm gonna go for a little bit of a walk today.
Yep.
Should be pumping. It's gotta be pumping. Like, remember last time we were over here a couple of years ago, they were going mad. They got that mall. I've seen a bit of paraphernalia around, right?
Yep.
But nothing massive yet. But it's the start of the week, so it should be huge.
One of the things that it was talked about a lot after New South Wales was so dominant last time is Queensland not getting over there early. Can you just talk to us about how do you feel like sleep-wise going over there and putting yourself back into the Origin arena as a player? Do you feel like the body clock is shifted ever so slightly with the 2 hours difference?
I think because I get up so early in Sydney, it hasn't really affected me, right?
Okay.
Because you know how we get up pretty much at like 5:30 every morning, so that's like
Yep.
pretty much like 7:30 here. Do you know what I mean? So if I was getting up at like at 9 o'clock a riser or 9:30, 7:30 would kill you. It hasn't really affected me at all.
Okay.
But last time it did, because I don't think I was getting up this early like 3 years ago. So me going to bed last night at probably like 9:30. Oh no, 10:30 this time over here, which is like 8:30. So I didn't really lose anything, and I've been up since and I've trained this morning and everything like that. So routine's not that far out. I think it just depends on what sort. If you're a night owl, if you're up, like say some of these players might be going to bed at 11, 12 o'clock, it'll get you. It'll affect you. Yeah, I think that's the thing. But if you're in a really good routine, getting up at 6 or 5 o'clock in the morning, the time doesn't phase you.
Okay, so that's one part of the preparation that can potentially have consequences. Another huge one. Let's get straight to it. This is news broke as we'd finished the podcast. Mitch Moses is now, and this is on Thursday last week. We got a message from Jess and a few people on YouTube as well. Romy's in for game 2 for New South Wales. So let's start with that before we get to anything else. How do you think? Is that going to affect New South Wales in any way? Obviously, the comfortability, the cohesion with Nathan and Luai is going to be so much better considering their time together at club level.
He was, it was probably that far off getting picked in the first place. It was like it was drawing straws. So, what a luxury to have, Jerome Luai sitting in the wings waiting to play and playing in some good form as well. And you think, he'll miss game 1. They took care of that. And he's like, I can win another Origin series here. Just get straight back into it. He looked like he hasn't missed a beat. You know what I mean? His attitude, he's ready to come in. He's well beloved within the group. He comes with that massive amount of energy. Critter, Liam Martin, Yowie, all the boys, all the brothers are there. Bizza, it's just it would not phase him at all, and what a luxury to have. He's playing some good football as well.
Yeah, you mentioned some teammates there, but the 3 that stand out: Bizza, Critter, and Spence.
They're back.
I'd love to. They got their whole gang back.
Back. It's it would have been great, and even though it sucks for Mitch Moses, you know what I mean? He's worked so hard to become such a premier half in the game, and he's finally got his chance at being the man and having the 6 or 7, whatever it is. He's really installed himself as a premier half in the game, right?
Yeah.
For him, it just sucks. You know what I mean? I want to see him get through a whole series. Even last year, he only played 2, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He missed. Yeah, so remember he had one game. He had the round before game 1, but it was too late because he hadn't played any footy.
Yeah.
He blitzed it in that game and then obviously comes in for 2 and 3 in place of Nico.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's I want him to have a good 3 series dominant. You know what I mean? Him and Cleary, you could probably look at the next 3 or 4 years of being the halves combination. What happens now if Luai comes in and just does Luai shit. You know, he's got potential to carve the hell out of anyone. You know what I mean? Just coming back, you know, being in an environment at the West Tigers where he's been through a hell of a lot in his small little tenure of what, just say 6 months, the turmoil and bullshit that club's been through. Fucking hasn't seen anything like that at Penrith. Nothing but winning.
And you know what?
Nothing but winning and parades. That's all he does is get rings and parades. And he's a god out there. Now he's going through the Galvin shit and there's coaching and this and that. He's just like, what the fuck is going on? Get back into Origin camp. The brothers are all there. Energy's up again. And he could really take that back and it filter all the way through that West Tigers team. So it could be a positive like that.
Yeah, agreed. And he's handled it so well. Even Laurie came out and said that was probably the toughest conversation that he had to have. Jerome handled it so well. Wished everyone the best. And just let Laurie know he was ready if needed. And sure enough, I feel so bad for not only Mitch, but the Parramatta fans too, because the Parramatta Eels have been playing so well since he returned, and he's going to miss an extended period of time for the Parramatta Eels. Another person I feel for a little bit is Matty Burton, bit of a victim of his versatility, was sitting there in the 18 jersey
100%.
In camp. And was jumped. And even though I agree with the decision, I think Jerome is the better choice for an out-and-out 6 because of Matty Burton's versatility. I still feel for him. I still really feel for Matty.
I feel for him as well, but they've made the right decision. Luai's the next guy up. Birdo was there because he can cover a multiple of positions. And it sucks sometimes when you're a jack of all trades, master of none in that era. You're obviously a 5'8" for 5'8" for the Bulldogs, out and out. But like when it comes to the rep arena, like he hasn't stamped himself as a top 5. You know, he's probably a top 5, 6. Yeah, I'll give him that. But he's not top 3. You got Money, Moses, and Luai. They're the top 3.
I've got to play for you. You know what he could have a similar career to Jack Whiten. You know, Jack Whiten was always thereabouts for like centers, 5'8", multiple positions. I think he even come off the bench in a game or two from memory.
Yeah.
Because Jack was so versatile, he didn't really get to cement a spot at club level or even Origin level, but you just had to have him around the squad, didn't you?
Yeah, you did. And it was sort of like it all started nearly from the Craig Wing era, right? Where like he just come on, he could play halfback wingy, he could play centers, he could play hooker, he could play lock in today's game. Like he could play anywhere. Like easily. And then we sort of molded it off that because when Badiris went off, and then fucking Wingy comes on, just blit and speeds that ruck up, right? It's pretty much like a Robson, and then the Connor Watson comes on, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that. And then we went to the Kirk Gidleys. Remember the Gidley, like fullback, halfback, 5'8", center. Like I think he's the most, I'm not sure. Like he can versatile. Play the most versatile football player of all time is Kirk Gidley. Yeah. And it hurt him at the rep end, right? Because it's like, where does he play here? Like we don't know where to play him. He can play hooker. He can play anywhere in the back line. He just competes and competes and competes. So, and Birdo, if he could add a string to his bow defensively, he would be a Jack Whiten. Yeah, because Jackie Boy, he puts you on your back. Where Birdo's come into his defense has picked up so much because of Ciro. And I think once he adds that string to his bow where people try and hit on his inside shoulders and he whacks you, which he has been doing, then you can say, okay, I can put you at lock. I can put you in the middle without having a bit of doubt. That's what it is.
What about from the regular competition over the week, mate? We've got the sponsors here at Red Bull. Have you got your OG Bull of the week for us for round 14?
It was hard. I was going to go with there was a few from the Dolphins games that I liked, but the competition was so bad. Like Herbie Farnworth was an absolute beast. Absolute beast. Nicarima, beast. But like I was watching the game yesterday. I had to watch because I was obviously in the air when the Bulldogs was on. I think Kickout was outstanding. It was probably one of his better games. Like just that try when they were coming back 18-10 and then he just little bit of an overs, straight to Cherry, boom, boom, and Montoya scores in the corner. His defense was good. You know what I mean? Like just having his presence out there was much needed because they come home. They nearly got us.
I can't believe he didn't score. Like Jaden Sullivan was hanging on for dear life like multiple times. I don't know how he didn't score.
It's a credit to South in their defensive system, and like everybody's accountable, and that's the Wayne Bennett sort of effect. Giving 2 years ago, Sullivan would have been in the back row, like straight over the fence with kick out running at him like that.
Yeah,
so I thought Kicks was outstanding for us. I thought with a couple of players out like Critter and that, just he needed to stand up, and he did. He was our best.
Yep. I thought you were going to go the OG Bull was friend of the show, Kieran Foran. I thought our mate Little Fozzie. I thought our mate Fozzie was a shout, but maybe, and we'll get to it in a bit, maybe you're a bit disappointed in what Manly are doing, that it sort of overshadowed the good of what the Titans did, because I thought our little mate was awesome over the weekend.
God, he was good, wasn't he? And he was, God, that body of his is going to be so sore. He digs into the line like no one else, still at 35 years old.
Yeah, he's a proper
He's one of my favourite players to watch.
Yep. You were going to go to the Dolphins game, mate. You were thinking about Herbie Farnworth. I'm going to go with the Dolphins for my young buck. Scopes young buck for Red Bull this week. Jack Bostock, 21 years old, 22 carries for 269 metres and 4 tries. I want to start it off with Joey had made a huge call about 5 or 6 weeks ago I don't know if it was the Storm or the Panthers game in which the Dolphins won back-to-back, but he talked about Jack Bostock as up next. He thinks he's got the potential to play Origin.
Yeah.
Mate, I've been watching closely the Dolphins this year, and in particular the last month of footy, they're putting together some really good performances. I would argue for the wing position, it's Lomax and To'o, obviously. I think Carraz is thereabouts and been doing great things at the Bulldogs for the last 2 or 3 years, and he can play both centres, and he's even called into camp for cover for To'o. So obviously Laurie deems him as the next man up. Gee, Jack Bostock might not be too far away, and if Joey's saying it 5 or 6 weeks ago, then that puts him on the radar even more.
I've seen him in the last couple of weeks, and even when Joey started mentioning his name, I was like, yeah, I rated him a little bit last year. He was a little bit raw. This year, like, he's a premier winger. Some of the things he's doing, the meterage that he's doing, and the tough stuff out of yardage, right? Which is a lot of coaches are looking at that next level, right? Yeah, it's good that you can do it at a club level against some sides that aren't really top 8 sides. He's been doing this for a good 4 to 6 weeks while they've been on this run. He's been getting 200 meters quite easily. Fucking 4 tries the other day. Like, he's a great finisher. He's strong as hell. Like, he's got everything, hasn't he? He's a big body. Can he play for New Guinea?
I'm not too sure. Labor. No, that's Labor.
He getting those two mixed up. So he's from New South Wales, Bostock.
Yeah, he's a South Coast boy. Gerringong. I believe, or not, I'm not 100% that it's Gerringong, but I know he's from the South Coast. Peter O'Sullivan identified him at the Dolphins a couple of years ago with recruitment, got themselves a nice get there. And the scary thing is, the yardage carries are awesome. He's got a will to do it. He probably doesn't have the power and leg drive of guys like To'o and Lomax, right? I think he's 18 months away from his
thing there. That's what you look at. There, and it's like he probably needs maybe 3 kilos of muscle and maintain his speed, and he will be a problem. A real big problem, and he'll be pushing for rep honours in the next couple of years because he does everything good. He's unbelievable. He's whatever a prototype winger is now, he's doing it all. He competes with everything. He will jump. He's not Xavier Coates, but he'll compete with him, right?
Yeah.
He's got the skill to beat you 1-on-1. Like, even like little things, he'll take you on. He'll try and beat you with some moves. He's not overly fast, but he's fucking faster than you think. Because he's got once he gets up and out of the low, when you're running real low sort of thing, once he gets up, he's flying like a gazelle, man. I rate him.
Last week I talked about the Dolphins being one of my favourite teams because of the humility that they got. He's got a bit of that wingers swag. He takes the intercept, starts streaking away from Kentucky Derby, and then he started doing the count before he put it down.
One, was he?
2, 3, 4. And then he puts the ball down, and then you know what? the lack of humility cost him. He could have had 5.
Could have had 5.
Jake Averillo hit him right on the noggin. That's the footy gods correcting him straight away. The celebration, and I tell you what, Christian Wolf didn't like it as well. They asked him in the presser after. They asked him about the Cody Nicarima turning around and passing it to Herbie, and then Bostock doing the countdown as he's still streaking away before he put the ball down.
You know who the triple OGs at that? Nigel Vangana, 1.
Yeah.
Then he had his tapes. Remember he did that against South 2002 and he scored 5 tries?
Yeah.
When you're over the line.
Over the line and put it down.
Already
That's
down. And then remember he did it 1, and these 2 fingers were strapped together. So it was like 1, 2.
2.5.
He had to go 3, 4, 5. Shout out to Nige, my OG, mate. Love you to death. One of the best centers to ever do it. But, like, yeah, you got to get over the line to even try and be cocky like that. If he was over the line, bang, do what you want, kid. 5 tries is a haul. Do what you want. Yeah, and that's not disrespectful counting it like Nige did.
No, it's cool.
It's cool. You know, you should, but don't you dare do it while you're running to the line, mate. Yeah. Come on.
It's a little bit cocky going in there, but like I said before, I think there's a bit of swag on that left edge. Him and Herbie, all the rest are toilers. We'll talk about the Dolphins in a bit, but those two, they got a bit of swag.
The whole Dolphins team.
Yeah.
One is red hot. What I was seeing yesterday, I was just like, this looks like a premiership winning team.
Yeah. You know what, mate? They're honestly injuries away from being a true contender in my eyes. And we'll get to them in a bit. But that was our young buck. Let's get to just a reply. We only got a couple because we've got a shortened version while you're over in Perth, mate. So we've got a reply here from CJ Hartsey, who's a fan of the pod and also a Raiders fan. He was also at the South Raiders game and agree with the shout out to Souths for hanging around for the Josh Papali'i ceremony. He's seen it as well. He also gave Terrell an extra, a little bit of an extra shout out because he gave both his socks and his boots to kids before the preso started. And then he had to hang around rocking it barefoot in those conditions when even the locals were struggling. Probably not, but it's a nice gesture from Trell, and it shows the respect that they had for Big Papa. So he said that's great stuff and great respect to Trell Mitt as per. Mace, I've got a mongrel moment for you. We're going to do this a little bit different. So, as you know, mongrel boots are on board this year. They're Aussie born and bred. They're Aussie owned. They're Aussie made. And they're tough Aussie work boots, but they are comfy as and designed and built for the job. I want to ask you about a bit of mongrel coming up in Origin 2. This is going to be a question. We've got a mongrel moment question here. Do you think Queensland have the mongrel in them, just like mongrel boots, to kick the ball to Spencer in Game 2 in Perth? What do you reckon is going to happen there?
100%. 100%. When he's on, I think they will kick to him every time. They just their integrity got questioned, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the greats, like the Gordon Tallises and everything, sort of stuck up and like tried to shift it, going play him 80 and all this kind of stuff, like anything but. You just didn't have the balls to kick to him, right? You just didn't want to. When Billy goes, we just wanted to kick right because Val had to come back to the left, but you've already kicked left. You just admit it. You just didn't want to kick to him. I think he gets kicked to a lot. I think he gets a lot of attention every time he gets the ball to send a message out for them. For Queensland to win this game, they're the little things that they have to do. And like everybody has to play their best game to beat New South Wales. And I want to see that. Then let down the whole of like Origin supporters. Like we're fans now, right? I'm like, I can't wait till they kick it to Spencer, right? And we didn't get to see that. Now I think we're going to see probably about 3 times when Spencer's on. Hopefully.
And you know the thing, you can't question the integrity of mongrel boots, mate, because we are looking. Head to mongrelboots.com.au to find your favourite boot and your local retailer. All right, let's get to the predictions. All right, we're going to start off with try scorers first, Mace. You're going to be representing New South Wales as per, and you have gone Liam Martin for first try scorer, and his price, by the way, is $21 for first, and you can get him $4.25. Why do you think Liam Martin's going to be a part of the action nice and early, mate?
I just think he's been running really good lines at Penrith, right? But they've been all over him. He's not getting one-on-ones. Cleary, they've been pressuring Cleary and the fullbacks out the back. He hasn't been getting one-on-ones. And I think because we'll be pushing so far through the middle, like with Payne Haas and Big Stefano, and even going left to Crichton a little bit, I think it'll open up that right edge where Cleary can really just start doing some magic. Like even if we get to like a far left post, just a little bit to the side, so you can still keep 4 on the short side, have a long side, and I think they'll have a first receiver to Yowie. They'll have a lead, right? Another prop like Stefano, or maybe Payne Haas would be the best lead, right?
Have you got your mail, mate? Because you've said Stefano twice, but Max King is named to start. You expect
Max King? Sorry, I thought Stefano. No.
I thought you might have some early mail over there.
No. Okay. So Max King, right? Yeah. But I want Max King to take that hit up on the left side of the post, so Payne Haas can pull out wider, right? So he can be the decoy with Yowie, and then have Cleary out the back, and then maybe show under, and then just the Liam Martin just hitting those inside shoulders. Whoever's that 3-man there is going to get a lot of attention. And if that doesn't happen, you just go straight out the back to Edwards, and we just go bing, 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 and then probably Tyler scores.
Yeah, well, you're right, mate. Because
if they don't that sort of shape, if you execute it so good, you get your one-on-ones.
You're right, and just because of the amount of losses that they've had at Penrith over the last couple of years, I feel like for Penrith, when you're playing Penrith at the moment, you shut down Nathan Liam Martin on that edge. It goes a long way to shutting down, or at least making it harder for Penrith to be so dominant. When you got Angus Crichton and Terrell Mitt on the other side, you can't afford to send the extra number at Liam Martin, can you?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like, because you're going to have, and Dylan Edwards will be sweeping really late, right? So, he'll be, so Cleary just does it he has so much time when he just drifting across field. Queensland really need to put pressure. Whoever's that left 4, they need to come up. And even the middles, and this is where Payne Haas becomes so important, right? Where Yowie gets the ball, probably a 10-meter laser right on his chest. Payne Haas is even like 6-7 meters. He's hitting outside the 4-man, right? And you want him breaking inside, so that 3-man is fucking isolated, right? And then he comes across, squares up, and then whatever the 3-man does, if he thinks he's going to go out the back to Dylan Edwards, fucking bang, Liam Martin, inside shoulders, runs the best, yeah. That's money, yeah. Money's got to make it really, and he's usually very good at making those decisions, but, make the right one. But Cleary's got to make the right one. He's going to be seeing the cues if, and Money plays these little games where he has his little shoulders in, but look where his hips are. His hips are direct. So he can go, oh, yeah, I'm going to go in, and bang, out. So all the good defenders do, like really good defenders, smart defenders. And then that's when you double D. You go, bang, straight away. But then that's where it becomes a game of chess between Cleary and Munster. And then, you know what I mean? So then Cleary might dummy it. He might, there's a lot of options off those plays. And Penrith, in their four premiership runs, when they did that from that sort of side, the other side, the dash lines, the inside dash lines, hash lines. How many times you see Bizzer or Taruva score when it was executed at a high level? The defense has to stop it. The defense, first of all, I'm not giving them fucking any tips because they all know this. Marcus need to make Robson play early, and then they need to get at Yo. A and B needs to be a sprint at Yo. So you take, and then make sure he probably has to hit Payne Haas, and then you're straight on him. If you let Yowie dig into the line and have Payne there, then Cleary gets to do what he wants.
Could be in some trouble.
It'll be a problem.
You know what? You want to go straight through the front door, and understandably so. I think New South Wales are so much more dominant. Oh, I sent an alarming stat around, Queensland and scoring tries recently from random stats guy. They're going to have to work so hard to get their points, mate. I really see this, if there's any way Queensland can win this, I think they're going to have to be perfect in and around the tram lines to score on the edges. And I've gone Xavier Coates. I think there was a clear plan to target Brian Toto in the first game. They didn't execute it. I think because of that, the skipper, and Daly Cherry Evans is the man that made way, obviously, for Tommy Dearden. I think the execution is going to have to go up a notch. So Tommy Dearden, Cam Munster, and even Callum Ponga, they've got to do everything and chuck in Harry, because Harry had a rough outing as well. They need to be perfect through the middle as a spine for them to have any chance of scoring. Perfect. And then, therefore, you might be able to get some joy on the edges. You need an isolate one-on-one somehow with a kick or a pass and give Xavier Coates with the size advantage over Brian Toto to score a try. So I've got Xavier Coates at $11 for first try scorer, but I like $2.50 any time. I think if they are able to get any points, and I know Brian Toto's Brian Toto, don't get me wrong. I still think there's an opportunity to get some joy there with the size if they're able to execute so much better than they did in game one.
Yeah, it's going to be, if Queensland's middles get run over like they did in the first game, your backs can't do anything, mate. They have the biggest job. Tino has the biggest job. Carrigan has the biggest job. Lindsay Collins, all these big guys, like New South Wales pack's good, right? But you're not, like they're not like fucking unbeatable. Like, you know what I mean? Like they made them seem like they made them out to be. They just worked hard. They ran harder. They hit harder, and they worked harder. That's something that Queensland can do easily.
I think, a lot of people were talking about the pack and the bench, which is obvious because I thought New South Wales
Bad
were
for
better.
Game one. It was bad. First, game one.
I agree with that.
And I agree with that, but I reckon Zach Lomax and Brian Toto, Dylan Edwards, the back three, like we go back to Penrith's dominance as well, and it starts at the back three. So not only a huge job trying to score tries with the Xavier Coates, but Val Holmes, Callum Ponga, and Xavier Coates have a huge job as well.
Yeah, I agree. They need to be back. They need to be fucking back fence, and I don't give a shit about don't skip across field, direct running, especially Coates and Val. They're big boys, mate. Val and Coates is a machine. He's a machine. Callum Ponga's the man. He needs a man of the match performance.
Okay.
I think he's been a little bit down on form. He's been banged up, mate. He's a tough SOB. He's very tough. Even the last week when he banged his ankle up, still played. You saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Limping around, still got the fucking...
And got the win. Got the win against Manly.
And then, like, he knows that he's got to play Origin in, like, fucking 10 days. You know what I mean? Like, you got to really admire that. Because then you're like, fuck, I've got to play the hardest game of my life in 10 days. My legs banged up. And that's how you can never question that man, if you're a Newcastle fan, how much he puts in. You can question half the other fucking people that wear that jersey, but not him.
We'll get to that in a bit because you've just gone and stolen my player of the match, mate. So there you go. Thanks for that, Mace. Let's get to the winning margin, though. New South Wales, and we're going to keep talking about Kalen in a bit, mate, because there's a teaser. He is my player of the match candidate as well. You've gone with the scoreline of 24 to New South Wales defeating Queensland with a margin of 13 plus, and you can get odds on the tab for that for $2.
Got to live up to the shirt. I can't.
Got to live up to the shirt.
Yes. I just think I don't think Queensland have that many points in them. You know, like,
agreed.
I don't think, and I think we've got like 4. We've got at least 4 tries. You know what I mean? Maybe miss a conversion here and there, but like I think we've got 4 tries. I think they've got about a couple.
Surely the conversions are better in this game than in game one.
Well, Val Holmes might have them on the sideline. Game one. No, that's why I've put 8. Because 2 tries from fucking...
2 tries, no conversions.
Yeah, 0 conversions for Queensland.
Because of the balls?
Or 6 tries.
Yep. No conversion.
5 tries. 5 tries, 1 conversion.
What's the math? So 1, 2, 3, 5 tries, no conversions.
Yeah, and then
5 fours with 2 conversions. That's 24.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's us. That's us.
I'm with you, mate. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game if Queensland have any chance. So I've got a margin of 1 to 12 for Queensland, with Queensland defeating New South Wales 16 to 10, and you can get odds of $4.20 about that. I can't see a world where Queensland blow them out. I can see a world where they just make it a little bit messy. Billy's made changes to the forwards. I think they weather the storm, and then Paddy Carrigan, Jeremiah and I can come on and just keep that second wave going that just eluded them in game one. So, that's sort of my thought process with the margin there. In order for New South Wales to win, though, mate, you've gone with Isaiah Yeo for your player of the match.
Yeah, I think, I've been going with Payne Haas. He'll probably get it, I reckon, because I've been going I went for Yowie, I went for Cleary. I think he's the main guy, Payne Haas. And I just
think
it's
very hard for him to get it back to back, though.
Yeah, because his head's going to be on a platter. And I think Tino's going to be trying to take it off. I think Lindsay Collins, I think everybody in that forward pack, Payne Haas needs to be stopped, right? So therefore, I think he'll be getting quick play the balls for Yowie. Yowie traditionally plays way more direct in Origin. He plays 80 minutes. He's always out there. And I think if we do get the win, he will end up with like a stat line of like 22 to 25 touches, 5 offloads, 40 plus tackles, 200 meters plus, right? So if no one's really stood out backline wise, right, a Cleary or anything like that, you usually go with your middles. And if they've taken care of Payne Haas, and they really go for an edge back rower, like Crichton did have the outstanding game last year, right? Which you just fucking had to give it to him down in Melbourne, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Liam Martin does just workhorse, you know what I mean? Just does little things that like we would notice. Very nuanced, very kick chase, high energy. Just
he doesn't have huge stat lines, does he?
No stat line. He's not a stat line man.
Or maybe heaps of tackles, like 40 tackles, but 7 or 8 carries for 65 meters, but they're all tough as nails.
Yeah. Yowie can like really get you, and he'll get on the back foot of like, Max King get good quick play the ball. You know what I mean? Then Payne Haas, and then Yowie will get on the back of that. He'll either go direct, or he'll have someone leading with him. He can go at the back. He's got a trick bag, that man, and I think he's built for Origin. He's had a couple of man of the matches, I think, already, so it won't be too far from him.
And skippering the state to a series win would be another tick in his career, and what a career it's been so far. You mentioned so much about Kalen for man of the match. I'll just add this: I think Kalen's, for all the things you said there, tough as nails. He needs to have a huge performance. There is, I guess, pressure at the position as well, with Reece Walsh only playing and returning last week and playing really well for the Broncos. But the main part where I think Kalen needs to step up, no DCE. So I think Kalen's going to kick more and have to kick well in this game, more than he's have to do with Daly being in the 7 jersey compared to Tommy Dearden. I think that's where extra responsibility. He's no longer a kid anymore. He's been around for a while.
Not the wonder kid anymore.
He's a vet
Superstar.
now. He's a vet. He's a superstar. He's Queensland's guy. He needs to have a huge series if there are any chance. And I think this is a real good opportunity for him to step up. Similar to what we were talking about with Jerome at the start of the year, with not going so well at the Tigers. When you get the opportunity to leave a team that's struggling at club level, and then you get thrust into the arena again around superstars, it can bring out your best footing. And I think Kalen's just knocking on the door, and he could have a huge one for us in Perth. By the way, born in WA, Port Hedland boy. So that Perth, that Western Australia connection. I
love it. There better be some fucking signs out there. I think Walsh is, I don't know how bad his knee was, right? But if Ponga has just a subpar game, I think it's fucking Walsh goes to play game 3. That's how much I think they believe in Walsh.
Well, they've been back and forth now for 3 years.
No, I know, but like people don't know what Ponga's. I don't know. I think Walsh, if he can string 2, 3, 4, 3 games, I think 3 games, really good games. And what if it's 1-1?
You'll get 2.
What if it's 1-1 and Ponga plays like he did in game 1, and Walsh plays lights out?
The reason I say there's no chance, because Kalen has to have a 10 for them to even win. So I can't see a world in which Queensland don't win and Kalen. That's my only pushback.
Just thinking,
on that.
What if money just goes crazy and Dearden and like or everyone else but Ponga?
Nah, you can't change a winning team. Surely.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just say Queensland get beat just. Do you know what I mean? They still get beat, series over.
Yeah, but Kalen kills it?
No, he plays really average.
Okay.
That's a whole different conversation.
We got a lot of hypotheticals right there,
Yeah,
mate.
like, there's too many. I want KP to kill it and just to really solidify himself as one of the greats, right? And I think this is time for him to really shine because I think KP needs MOM.
What do you got for us, Lukey?
If he goes to the Kiwis, then they might just go Walshy for long term. Game 3.
That's what I was fucking thinking. That's what I was alluding to. I was like, I heard little rumors about going to Union and shit, and I was just like, if he,
That's a better hypothetical. That's like, if you're going to throw that out and go, look, do they go, have they heard anything? Is Kalen actually considering playing for New Zealand? Then that would make sense. If the series was over, then maybe you go back to Walshy if he does brain it over the next couple of games. But at the end of the day, you know Billy better than me, mate.
You know what I mean? But they're rumors.
Yeah, we don't know. It's not confirmed,
yeah, exactly.
Right? And you know Billy better than me. He just seems like he's win at all costs. Like he's a competitor. So even if that was true, there's a part of me that thinks like he's the coach of Queensland and he will put together the best version of who he deems Queensland's best opportunities to win a game, regardless of what's happening in the future or whatever the rumours are.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get the club footy, mate. We're going to do a quick version of this with the shortened round, but we'll go back to Thursday night. And the Sharks 30 defeated the Dragons 18. At 18-6 at halftime, the Dragons up. I thought, geez, what's happening with the Sharks here? Like that, I know they go on a run, but it's still slightly concerning. I don't think my opinion has changed from either of these teams after watching them play over the weekend. I'm still just so unsure about both of these teams. And Cronulla, I thought that, even though they won, they had a real opportunity just to cement themselves as a top 4 team. And I'm still left wanting a little bit. How do you view that? Let's start off with the Sharkies.
It was just a weird game. I was watching and going, the Dragons up 18-6. And like fucking Flano must have really ripped into them at halftime. Then they just started playing high completion football, right? And just started having a crack. But back to the Dragons. The Dragons I can't get like about probably 7 teams. I just can't get a gauge on them. I'm like, 1 minute you beat like fucking the Warriors, you beat Melbourne, you beat this, you beat that, and then the next week you get towed up. You know what I mean? And whilst winning at halftime. Like I don't understand with the Dragons. Like it just looks like their forwards can sort of match it with anyone, right? They're very basic forwards. They work hard, they tackle hard, they work hard together.
They're a tradesman pack. They're a veteran tradesman.
Yep. Got some class players on the edges. They can't do shit with fucking halves like that. Nothing. If you don't dig into the line, if you're a fucking halfback, even if you're a vet, go watch Isaiah Katoa play. Do yourself a favor. That's how you're supposed to dig into the line.
He's a special player, isn't he?
But that's how you do it, don't you? The greats do it like that. And if you're a bloody 28-year-old man, first grader, and you can't fucking go nowhere near the line, what do you expect your back rowers to do? They're all going to get 2-on-1s and 3-on-1s defensively. Like they're going to get people attacking them. Centers are going to get fucking 2 people on them all the time because you do not square the middles up. You don't test the middles, right? You don't play out. You don't play in. You don't do anything. You don't, like that's what they do. It's just fucking the most pedestrian attack I've ever fucking seen. I look at it and just go, you just come up and slide.
It's similar to a theme that we've seen a lot this year where, teams just get to a lead as well. And this is the Dragons. And I definitely want to get back to the Sharks and I normally like to start on the Sharks, but just on the Dragons, 18-6, playing good footy. There looked to be a really strong win behind the team heading south. It looked like there was a southerly, right? So the prime example is Luciano Leilua put in a kick and it went 65 metres. So, that shows how the amount of wind was behind. And then once the Sharks got that in the second half, it just looked like Dragons couldn't get any field position. But teams are trying to protect leads at halftime, and you've got to keep playing. You can't try. 12-point lead is like a 2-point lead now. Like it's dog shit. You got to keep going after the game. You can't play conservative, and that's where I think the Dragons fell in the hole that a lot of other teams have fallen into this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird, and sometimes halftime is the worst thing for teams.
Yeah,
the worst thing is just like, yeah, okay, we're winning, and you just don't know the mindset of individuals, right? You know what I mean? Like, when you go into halftime and forwards are usually locked in. We're fucking going, all right, let's go. We're on. We just keep doing the same thing, right? It's working. Little tips at B, little tips at C. Play out the back. Do all this sort of stuff. Hossie's getting one-on-ones. Willie's getting one-on-ones on the right. Do you know what I mean? Let's just let's play some block shapes. Like, it's very simplified for us, right? Get to 12 the 9. Right. 12 the 9. Early ball, right? Markers down. Engage markers. I'll go straight in between them because they're getting back late. All this sort of stuff. Like, these are the communications that you need to have to your 9 and your 7. 7 stay at the back, all this sort of shit. I don't know what fucking centers and halves and that think of. Like, I really don't. I'm like, and that's most really good teams sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, how did you play like that? And then the second half was just like either really good in the first half, and the second half was just atrocious. Like, you didn't really dig into the line. You didn't do anything properly. You didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's trying to protect the lead, right?
Like scoring. Like, in the first half, like, Flano looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Little short ball here, little there, like testing the middles out.
Like in King Tonga, he had a nice try where
it didn't like
the shape wasn't there originally, and Gutho was furious too. He's blowing up at Luch. I don't think Luch ran the wrong hole, but it wasn't there, and Lycan just took it himself and just went whooshka and put it down.
I want to get to the
Sharks.
One I was talking about wasn't Flanagan. It was King Tonga.
King Tonga. Yeah, he had a nice moment where he scored a try, but it's only the first time we've seen it this year together. When the back two of Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Mulitalo start their sets like those two, I know Stone Street did a great job. Stone Street, he's got a bit of swagger about him. I think he's an out-and-out first grader. But the way that Katoa and Mulitalo get their set started, especially when they've got ruck momentum and the game flow was going their way in the cycle, geez, they're very hard to stop them too. And then Ramian gets off the back of it, and then they had no KO Iro. But Sifa Talakai was getting in for play twos because he was playing in the centres when Hiroti went down. They've got a powerful back five. Once they get momentum, then they're very hard to stop.
When they're like that, they're hard. When they go and everything's working together and they keep the ball in play, these high speed grinds, they love that. They love it. They can get you. They're fit as hell. Most of their middles are fit. Their back five's fit and they're strong. They get out of yardage quite easily, and they can score tries. They compete for everything. That's the secret to Cronulla. You handle their back five. They have a couple of off games. You usually win against Cronulla. It's usually when they have
Go ahead. And here's the last bit off the back of it, because if they're able to go Ronaldo, Sione, either one of the centres, whether it's Sifa or Jesse Ramian, and then they get another back rower, they get Adden on play 4. You know how the league's a copycat league? When Adden's playing his best, if you get Adden Fanul-Blake on play 4, mate, it felt like he was running for 15 metres every carry in the second half, skiddling people, could have got an offload, gets down, plays the ball, good kick. And then that's rinse and repeat. Whereas a couple of weeks ago, Adden was having to do plays 1 and 2. You do a good job on Adam, and it fucks the sets.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the thing. He has to be on play 4s, 3 or 4, right? Like, he's so hard to tackle because it's usually someone needs to sacrifice a quick play the ball, even it's like a McInnes on play 3, right?
Yeah.
Get a quick play the ball, let the big boy do his work on play 4. He's going to give you 15 metres, quick play the ball, use a flip, might be a late offload, might be something, you know what I mean? Like, something can come out of that play. Late offload, quick play the ball, front foot kick, straight back down there and defend. That's where they're most dangerous, when they do have their back 5 or their back 3 working really hard to get back, and you see the guys walking a little bit, and then by the time by play 3, they're in the game. They're there at the play the ball because of the back 3. Even the back
Agreed.
five. I mean, when Ramian gets in there, I don't know. Like, that's why most teams don't kick to his side because he's dynamite.
Yeah. And as good as Ko Iro is and has been, Sifa Talakai in play 2 and 3 is just disgusting as well. Disgusting.
Terrible. They're just trying to tackle him.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the Titans 28 defeating the Sea Eagles 8, and I guess just because of the scoreline and the way things played out, we're definitely going to lean into Manly, and I really want to get your opinion on it, mate, because I feel like I've been very vocal about them. But let's start off with the Titans. Desi challenged the players last week in the presser. He put it all back on the players. They talked about the culture. Is he the right man for the job? He said the players are. But the thing that, we keep going on, it feels like it's Groundhog Day. Every time we see a good Titans performance, it's because one of the fullbacks is missing and either Jaden Campbell or AJ Brimson has gone back to fullback and absolutely brained them. I don't know, it's a tough situation because you've got 3 gun players, but even in a positive, you look at that going, man, AJ's an out-and-out fullback. Like Brimo, I know, and having the old boy Fozzie there through the middle dictating and getting them into strong positions, Desi's got a really tough, if he is still the coach, a tough 18 months figuring out how he's going to work, all 3 of those guys post-Foz.
One of them has to go, right?
I think so.
I've been saying this for 3 years, Hoz.
Yeah.
He just can't. I mean, who was the deals that they offered, like AJ Brimson, he was at the peak of his powers when he signed that. He got a fair wicket, right? And he's been injured ever since. He's had a few major ones, hamstrings. He's missed out. He bumped himself into that Origin side. Do you know what I mean?
He's played a couple series,
Outstanding football. Campbell comes along. Keanu Kinney's the one that threw the biggest spanner in the works that they never thought that was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? To be as good as he is, right? And it's a shame that he's not on the field now, but it should be easier for Des to make a decision on where they play him. Just stick Brimson at fullback and leave him there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get this.
Put Campbell in the front line and just let him play.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the I'm trying to get the names up, mate, because they had a bit of a no frills forward pack in there compared to what they normally. I know Bo Firma was there, but no David Fafita. And I want to get the names up of a couple of these guys who I thought were really good, because one of them I want to give particularly give a shout out. Can you still see me too, mate, while I'm getting all the stats up here? Am I still coming through okay? Yeah, good. I want to give Bo Firma, he would have been disappointed just like Ches to not be playing Origin. But a couple of unheralded guys, Jamin Jolliffe, he's just been a really good worker. I thought him and Reggie were really good in starting for the Gold Coast Titans. Chris Randall is just a goer. But the bench players, I called for more time from the bench, and Desi went and got Tukey Simpkins. He hasn't played since 2021. He's the guy. He's the guy I wanted to highlight, Mace, because he hasn't played NRL first grade since 2021. He had some nice carries. Tukey Simpkins through the middle. He had some nice touches.
What a cool name. Tukey.
Mark Tukey Simpkins.
Mark Tukey.
It's a Māori name. It's an extended Māori name. Let me get it up. I'll get it up for you.
He's Indigenous too.
No. It's so I think he's of Māori heritage. It's Tukey Mihia, potentially. Tukey Mihia. Tukey Mihia is his name. He played at the Tigers in 2021. He hasn't played since, mate. But he had some nice touches off the bench as well. And just as he had a little bit more faith in the squad, and that looked like it was going to be a 30 to 40 game, and then all of a sudden they anchored down in the second half and defended well.
And Khan Pereira, man. Jeez.
Quickest player to 50 tries in NRL history.
He's a problem, mate. I know the defense was pretty bad, but when he hits back on those angles and he straightens up, he moves. He's a beautiful mover. Beautiful. Even old Alan Fitzgibbon on the wing there.
Yeah,
he don't look like an Alan Fitzgibbon, eh? If you're going to pick Alan Fitzgibbon out of the whole lineup, who was Alan Fitzgibbon?
Jamin Jolliffe.
Is Craig Fitzgibbon's dad's name's Alan Fitzgibbon?
Oh, is it?
Alan Fitzgibbon, I know.
Gotcha. Yeah, but he goes good. He's a bit of a journeyman story as well. Pretty cool
It's a great story.
Yeah, Titans, Desi challenged them and they stepped up. Congratulations to Canberra, the fastest ever. I think he just took over potentially the two Fijians in Semi and Marika. And Aquila. And Aquila, Aquila was thereabouts as well. So, all three of the Fijians were 2, 3, and 4. And then there's one more.
Sevo.
Micah Sevo, not Marika. Micah Sevo.
He got to 100 in like fucking 80 games. What a
yeah. So Sevo was there as well. So, geez, Manly, mate. This is like.
What is wrong with Manly, Hoz?
The frustrating part as well is they've now lost 2 in the last 5 weeks. The 17th place Gold Coast Titans. I believe Para were last when they lost to them before game 1. And Newcastle were second last when they gave up a 16-point lead.
And playing possibly the worst half of football Newcastle's ever played.
Yeah, and they got booed, mate.
It's just I can't put my finger on it. They got so many star players. Turbo played, Olakawatu played, DCE played, Kohler played,
Jakey
played, Jakey played. They had a full deck of cards.
The only starter, Lehigh Hopewadi, and he's only a rookie. Like, he's in his second year. So as much as I love Lehigh,
and Turbo there.
Turbo. Yeah, it's getting tough to talk about. Like, you
we just won't talk about it. It's just got to happen. It's going to have to happen soon.
Yeah, no, and it's similar to like I've done this before when we've talked about, and this is how bad it feels right now. Remember in years past when we talked about the Tigers, obviously before there've been better performances this year, but it got to the point where you're just over talking about the Tigers struggling for so long because there's not anything constructive to say, and there's probably more internal changes that need to happen outside of actual constructive criticism for them, because we have had constructive criticism. We've talked about changes. If you're not willing to make those changes, then I guess it sort of just leaves us as fans, as commentary and pundits. It's just like then it starts leading you down. You start getting personal about decisions, and that's like
you start resenting the club and you start resenting the coaching staff.
Yeah,
and whoever's making those decisions to keep picking those players in the same positions, right? Then you start going, what are you doing? Like Turbo, and it probably because of Lehigh Hopewadi's out and everything like that, so they probably played into it. But the conversation's got to happen soon, mate.
Yeah, a big. There needs to be a look at sort of the roster. The way it's definitely constructed with the top 3, and there's already going to be huge changes with Daly moving on, so that's going to account for more money. How they navigate the negotiations with Turbo and Jakey now moving forward, because they need to start adding some players. Like, they need to start adding some players through the middle as well, and big task, mate. They've got a huge month of footy coming up for everyone involved there. So let's just leave it at that. Let's get to the Roosters versus Knights. The Roosters defeat the Knights 12-8. This is a bit of a tough watch. I was lucky enough to be at a long lunch and having a few red wines, which made the watch a little bit easier. But I guess the positive is the young players for the Roosters. We talked about how much we love Fiketti. He comes up with a huge moment.
Left foot, bang.
They've got some good young players coming through, but they can't get it done without their inspirational skipper. And Teddy's on his way to the Dally M, mate. That's just he's gonna be stacking up all these points, and he's willing this young team. And it's been really impressive what him and Trent Robinson have been putting together in the last month of footy.
Yeah, he set that try up for Keddy with the offload, and then the nice little kick for a Siwa Wong, to finish it off. Like, did he ground that, you reckon?
I don't think so.
And with his forearm, I suppose. I don't know. It was downward pressure somewhere. I don't know. But far out. It was 8-0 for 63 minutes.
It was a tough watch.
It was a tough watch, and Newcastle played some good football. It was boring. They couldn't score a try. Like, it looked like nowhere near scoring a try. And credit to the Roosters' defense. They just turned up. And then when they got their opportunity, bang, bang, try, and then game over. Do you know what I mean? It was just like,
it
would have been one of those moments where you're after a game, you're like, fuck, how did we lose that?
Well, you know what? Just going back to the first try with the Roosters, and I know he's got some highlight plays in him, but and they did wake up straight away. But that Kyle McCarthy try in and around Marky Mark, that's the part of his game he needs. This off season, he's a super talent, and there is chat about rugby union keen to get him back and all of that. But the way that Kyle McCarthy strolled over from Jack Cogger early in the game, you're just like,
what are you doing?
He just, like, sometimes he makes decisions especially when he's in the centres. That's why he's so much better on the wing. But then when you put him on the wing, then he has
man on man.
issues.
It was man on man. He just turned in. You have to pass. You made him play.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they'll be drilling it into him, like, just to stay square, stay on your man, stay on his inside. If your man's there, stay on his inside hip, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you have to do. And if he gets the ball, you tackle him. You know what I mean? Trust your inside. These little principles that everybody's got. Trust your inside. He's going to do his job. You've got your guy. But you pass the ball, you go on to him. If he passes it, you go and help your winger. That's how it works. It's like, it might take a year or two to drop.
What do you reckon the combination would have been and the communication comms would have been like between him and Marky and Dom Young too, though? Nwanga Nituwase, he's the reason Dom Young's no longer playing. He's actually, I believe he's starting at Newcastle today too, by the way, and we'll get to that in a bit. But I can't imagine those two, their communication and their vibe, just love for each other wouldn't have been at an all-time high at the moment too, would it?
It would have been awful. Absolutely awful. I don't think Dom Young is like, I don't think his communication's at the top of his game, right? I've heard little things where, it's
pretty chilled out.
A very chilled out human, right? If he prioritizes rugby league as his number one thing, I think he could use it. He could reach his potential. But I just don't think it's the like some kids. Some kids just don't have it. Yeah. Like, they just don't want to tick all the boxes and just do all the 1%ers that the guys that are great do. Because if Dom Young fixes a couple of little things up and is willing to work on it and do video sessions and do little things after games, and I mean not after games, after training sessions. You got B Moz there, you got Matty King, two of the best defensive wingers, centers in the game. If you want to learn, you can learn. Ask questions.
Yeah, I understand that. And we've talked about that before. And it must just be, it doesn't, and they've been around for a while now. They've been in the system. But it doesn't have, necessarily 100% translate too, right? Brett Morris and Matt King have been there for 2 or 3 years and been working with Dom Young.
And they've said that they've worked with him a lot.
And now, Marky Mark's struggling. So, I don't know, they're obviously elite players played at the highest level, but maybe something, I don't know, the communication just isn't quite.
I understand with Marky Mark. I understand with Marky Mark because they've got different defensive principles in union.
Yeah.
Once he understands that, where Dom Young's been playing league his whole life.
Yeah.
It's a bit different. So it's a different system in union, and he's getting better. And that's just learning. And I think he's one of those guys. He's a student of the game. He wants to be great, right? He wants to be great. So he's going to keep learning. He keeps swapping inside and out. Inside, when Toya comes back, he'll go back to the wing.
Well, here you go. Let's stay on Dom Young. Let's go to Newcastle. I think when all this negotiation started to get Dom Young back, it looked like it was going to be a straight swap with James Schiller, who, by the way, I don't know if you've seen any of the Schiller stuff. Absolutely disgusting. The messages that were sent to him. He got. So after last week's game, Mace, he got that was circulating on Instagram. Death threats, people going after him. I'm so at least happy that there was a result from it, and someone has been held accountable. Someone has been held accountable for the barrage of messages that they sent and actually been charged. There's a court process happening now, so we'll just leave it at that. That's
Come on, people. Like, you've got to be better than that, man. Like, he's a fucking human being with a family, and he's got, what sort of scumbags are these people? At least they're getting held accountable.
Give me your best back five between Kalen Ponga, Greg Marzu, who's playing good footy again. Bradman Best is due to be back after the bye. Gags is the right centre. Who's the right wing, Fletcher Hunt or Dom Young?
Fletcher Hunt. He competes. And he reads good defence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he really does. Like, he goes out there and competes, and like, I want that in the winger. And he makes good defensive reads.
Yeah.
And he's just got to put it, and he's willing to take play twos and cop his licks.
Imagine if Dom Young leaves the Roosters to go to Newcastle and still plays New South Wales Cup. That'd be crazy.
Well, he ain't going straight in there and taking Fletcher Hunt's position.
Mm.
I guarantee that. He's not coming back, because have a look at the season that Dom Young's put together.
Mm.
It ain't the best. This Hunt kid's come out of nowhere, scored some freaky stuff. I know he's undersized a little bit if you're looking for size, but like, if Dom Young gets his position back, he needs to start playing like Dom Young did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Not this version of Dom Young.
This Fletcher Hunt looks like a bit of a goal. Maybe he just flows in on the bench and just gives him some versatility on the bench to begin with, and then just keeps, that iron sharpens iron. Keep Don Young on his toes, and Fletcher Hunt, because Adam O'Brien said Fletcher Hunt's never played fullback before, and then once Fletcher Sharp went down on Thursday, or Friday at captain's run, he went to Fletcher. He goes, Fletcher Hunt. They lost Sharp, so he goes to Fletcher Hunt and goes, "You want to play fullback?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll have a crack."
Yeah.
So he's the goer.
Yeah, and that's what you want in a Newcastle team. And he's a local junior, and I know they love him. Yeah, they do love him.
I think they just extended him too.
Yeah, and I'm like, Dom Young, when they did make that decision, there was no Fletcher Young, as you said.
Fletcher Hunt.
Yeah, well, no Fletcher Hunt and Fletcher Young,
a hybrid.
A hybrid. Yeah, I like him. I mean, but if Dom Young plays to his potential, you're going to have probably Dom Young in there. He's a big body. He's big on play twos. He's good in the air. But these defensive reads that he's been fucking up, you can't be letting in more tries than you score.
Well, he was so much better at the Knights for whatever reason. And we talked about the 1-2 punch from Mulatalo and Katoa. Back in 2023, mate, Marzu and Dom Young, if they can get that going again, they were a problem. And that they were a huge part of the run that the Knights went on. So, yeah.
If he can get back to that thing, and I'm not sure, just say, and it might be the system, it might be, playing with the Roosters might be too technical for him. He mightn't have liked the Roosters.
Maybe just the communication from Gags as a centre.
Maybe he didn't get along with everyone, because apparently he's a really shy kid as well.
Yep.
Questions that you want your wingers to ask. So yeah, maybe he goes back there and he can capture the form that he had a couple of years ago, because he was fucking unstoppable.
Well, the team with the best form at the moment, let's get on to the Dolphins, 58 defeating the Cowboys 4. And we've got our favourite, I reckon he is our favourite YouTube commenter at the moment. Is that right? I always second guess myself with that commenter. Anyway, it's Uzo Unknown. It's Uzo Unknown, and he's a big Dolphins fan. And he goes, Uzos, Togos, Bullers, Cuzzies, Bros, and mate. Triple OG, Skipper Scope, and the bro, Lukey Stowe. My fins are looking good. I haven't got ahead of myself with the last three hiss, huss, huss that we have given out. But with two of those wins over Origin missing playing teams in the Bulldogs and Cowboys, with about 12 weeks to go, 2 buys, and 5 or 6 out of the last 10 games, which should be games that we can win. I know we dropped the first 4 games, and lucky for us, the competition is so tight that we have clawed our way back up to 6. Can the mighty Dolphins make our first finals appearance in 2025?
Yes. What I'm seeing right now, they look outstanding. When they're on fire and they catch a little bit of fire, they look like they can't be stopped. Like they just attack from everything. It's like they go up another level. Katoa plays better. Like Avarillo plays better. Like Nicarima plays better. Their middles play better. Kafusi, Donahue, remember they hit that Donahue put on? Fucking whacked him. What a hit. Everybody's
But just quickly. I haven't seen a hit like that since 2005. Hardly anyone gets done from City anymore.
Fucking banged him. I just looked at him and went, holy shit. I think I was at the airport watching it, right?
Yeah. Okay. That was Labour too that got done.
And I was like, this is me at the oh, fuck. Everyone got the AirPods in, everyone's just looking at me going, weirdo. Yeah, I think the Dolphins can really have a decent crack. Have a really decent crack at it, not just make the 8. If they play like that, they're playing some really high level football.
Imagine if, and not even all 4 of them, because I know like they are such the perfect example of coaches and players and clubs using bullshit excuses about injuries. They've got no Flegler, Gilbert, Saifidi, and Max Plath. I don't even want all 4 of them back, mate. So I'm not going to get greedy. Imagine if they only had 2 out of those 4 back.
Jacob back. Get Daniel back.
Daniel. Like Flegler's been gone for a while now, but fuck, imagine if they had 2 of those 4. Like they would be a genuine threat.
Yep, 100%. Like their back rolls. Who's that boy in the background?
Keely.
Yeah. Got his try there. They just look complete. I don't know what the fuck it was. I was watching that game. If the opposition was that bad or was the attack that good? The attack was good.
You know what? It's a mixture of both. And the point that you started with is, I think, the perfect way to highlight what makes the Dolphins great. We talked about teams getting to a lead and getting comfortable and trying to defend their way to a lead. Mate, if you give them an inch, they'll take a fucking mile. And if you show any signs of weakness, they don't go, all right, we're going to go 5 tackles, kick to the corner and try defend our way to a win. They want to fucking...
yeah, foot on throat and then just fucking step it.
They'll grab their hand and choke you out and just make sure you... Like, they don't want to go 5 rounds in a UFC championship fight. They want to get a result.
Yeah. And I love that. They've got that killer instinct in them. Nick Arima, outstanding.
Fuck, he's playing good.
Outstanding. Playing his best career best.
Easily, yep.
Bostock, all these guys, like they just look outstanding. They're back 5.
Asako.
Sarko's playing outstanding, kicking like a genius. Avarillo didn't even have the hammer there. Avarillo looks lightning. Far out. Like it just looks like a complete team. Their middles are physical, right? Yeah. They hunt in packs. They're not the biggest and most, like they don't have a Tino or a Payne Haas, but they've got some fucking animals in there.
Well, this is back-to-back weeks now where Felice has set the tone early. This time it cost him 10. He had to spend 10 minutes on the sideline, and I think there's a good chance that Felice gets suspended for that too, because he just missed his mark on Tom Duffy, lost his footing, and just clipped him high. But, mate, you know what it does, Mace? Even though it's a penalty and it's 10 in the bin and they actually scored again while they had 12 men, the juice is setting the tone through the middle. We're talking about all the players that aren't there. Kafusi is setting the tone for the Dolphins through the middle, and all these young forwards, Donahue, Keely, Fine Fuiaki, Lemuelu off the bench. Oh. You said they didn't have back rowers, mate, last week. They're emerging. They're emerging.
Yeah, far out. They're a decent side, man. They impressed me so much, just like with the execution at a high level, right? With Katoa playing, looking inside, playing outside, going out the back, the perfect timing. Like his timing was just, the right ball. If he sees a 3-man trying to jam in, goes over the top or goes out the back. Like he's seen the game in slow motion.
What about the stop stutter on I think it might have been the second try where he goes running to the line. You know how he tries to sink it in? So now they're coming at him a little bit harder because he's biting into the line so well. But he just goes and, he just stopped and jinked. And then the defense went, well, fuck, I haven't seen that before. What's that? And then it held it up just enough. Cody Nicarima out the back. I think they end up finding Herbie. Herbie finds Bostock.
It's a dangerous edge, that. The dangerous left edge. Fucking very good. They look good.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get it, I don't know how far Daniel Saifidi is away.
I think Saifidi's out for the year too. I think the Cowboys, mate, They're missing 5 Origin players, but geez, that's just still super disappointing. Losing JT before the game starts in the warm-up is not ideal as well. You're just about to get Tomalolo back, and that would have been super deflating for him. But you can't afford to get blown out at home by a Dolphins team that is young and emerging and all that. But, you know, who Saifiti's done for 26. Yeah, Saifiti, Plath, they're all pretty much done.
Well, they're doing a job anyway. But
Yep.
yeah, the Cowboys are just Jesus. What do you do there? It's fucking. No team gives up. They just couldn't stop the bleeding. And in today's game, like you just like that team there, if you can't stop the momentum, they're just going to keep rolling and rolling.
Yeah.
And it was like what back to back tries, like straight all in a row. Like just like next minute it's like 40-10.
They got back into the old habit of like once they and they've got better at it a little bit this year, but because they were chasing points, trying to force it early and just coming up with really simple errors coming out of yardage, and they just put themselves under the pump the entire game, it feels like.
Just one of those games. What do you do like during the week here? You're like, I know you're losing some Origin players, but fucking hell.
Yeah.
Rod. You know, anyone, like no one really.
Can't really afford to. Like you're going to get troops back next week that helps, but the players that are going to miss out are not necessarily going to be because they got dropped, and just more so that their players coming back in, right? So that could be the shake-up that they need. It's a bit of a more just speaking about highlighting the Dolphins and just it feels like an Origin round. That typifies what's wrong with playing games through an Origin at the moment. All right, the last game, Bulldogs 24 defeat the Rabbitohs 18. The electrical storm happened at about the 30-minute mark, which held up proceedings. That gave South Sydney.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. So they were winning 18-0, and this
looked like it was going to be 40.
They were travelling. It gave South the chance to take a breath. They get a try before halftime. I thought Toby Sexton, Reid Marnie, and Connor Tracy, all 3 guys who would put under a whole heap of pressure with the Lachlan Galvin news, and even hearing throughout the week that Uncle Gus went and addressed the team. And apparently the reports are, and you'd probably know this better than me, Mace, but just for people out there listening, Uncle Gus went and chat to the team and addressed the elephant in the room. If you're going to rip in and play well for the Bulldogs, you don't have a problem with your spot in the Bulldogs moving forward, and the players responded really well in the first half in particular.
They'll be all there. If you see some performances that aren't Bulldog-esque and you're not all for the team, you know what I mean? So have some selfish little parts, you know, like which I saw last week, you know, like I think Reid Marnie would have got pulled in, little things like that, which is not team first. And I think that's why Gus had to come in. You know, had a little bit of a hissy fit like Reedy, just kicked that thing and, you know, it was shown on TV. So, you know, you can do what the fuck you want, but like everything's filmed now. Of course he's disappointed. You know, doesn't like getting taken off. You know, that's where the big dog has to come in and go, fuck, if you rip in and just do everything for the club and play your best football, you'll be here all year.
Geez, do you think that would have been the catalyst for him to come in because of the scenes? But I found that really tough, mate, because I know you're Bulldogs, right? This is just me from an outsider. I'm very sympathetic to Reedy as well. He was one of the players that was, you know, brought over early on, and I know he's frustrated, but you can understand him.
I think that would have been one of the things, right?
Yeah,
and then the rumours between Sexton and Connor Tracy, like when he comes into the room, he just sets it how it is. Everybody's here for the rest of the year, unless you want to go. If you want to play football here at this club, this would have been what, you know, roundabout what he was saying. If you play and you put in for this club, you'll be here all year, right? But if not, there's the door. You know, pretty much. That's what it is. Like, we're building something here. Like, if you want to be part of it, fucking put that jersey on and rip in. I'm not saying that Reid Marnie incident was the catalyst for it, but it didn't look good, did it?
Mm. But like, he is obviously disappointed because his minutes are going to get trimmed and there's a role. And it's not like he did it out on the field. Like I know you got to be aware of the cameras because cameras are everywhere now. But in saying that, he's got back into the sheds and then started to, it all sort of snowballs. So yeah, there's a part of me that really feels for him. But I
it was just caught on camera.
Yeah,
it does. It's just like I think it's just be aware. Everything is filmed. There's cameras everywhere in those sheds. You cannot be anywhere but in the toilet.
It's gonna be a huge job for Cireldo how he balances that whole dynamic, isn't it? Like
iron sharpens iron. We're finally in that position where it's happening, right? You have to be on top of your game every training session, every single game to keep your spot. We're in the running for a top 4. We could be finishing first. We're going to be like, we have a fair shot to win this thing or get it into a prelim or a grand final. You want to be part of those squads. You know that, right? And so that's where Gus would have had to come in. Everybody's here for the rest of the year. If you want to be, and you play like a Bulldog, act like a Bulldog, breathe like a Bulldog. That's it. But
that's the hardest part of it, Mace. Like all those guys want that, and that's the problem. And there might not be enough positions. Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's not enough positions, right? There's not. We can't fit like there's 20 fucking players, 21, 22 players that could all fit into that squad. And this is a position that great clubs want to be in.
Yeah, I know.
You talked to us 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we wanted to be in this position. When I first went back to the Bulldogs, we're finishing second last. You're like, fuck, I can't wait to get into a position when we're in we've got guys that are proper Bulldogs players. Now we've got those players. And now it just sucks when you're successful. Go and ask Penrith how they feel.
Yeah, you lose players, don't you? That's fair. Let's get to the Rabbitohs, and they showed a bit of fight to get back into this game. Just fell a little bit short, but I want to highlight again, and he's been a part of my multis every week. We've been riding Alex Johnston, and he gets another try. So it's perfect for you. We're both riding him, but your Bulldogs get the win, and just the South team. The one thing about the South team, and they're going to have to fix it now because the Bulldogs have exposed it a couple of times, mate, their lack of movement on the opposite side of the ruck from where the ball goes is so bad. And I've called the games now twice, Easter Friday and then, Good Friday and the game on Sunday, and Bulldogs just expose it every time.
I was in Bulldogs training on Thursday or Friday, doing some video with Chad Randall, the great Chad Randall. Exactly what you said. All the clips were the other side of the ruck and exploiting that. That's brilliant from Chad Randall. Yeah. That was his job. You know what I mean? Like he's like, have a look at this. He just paused everything, and I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah.
But there's
so many walkers, isn't there?
The ones that got found out, they were walking into position, saving their gas and everything like that. And that's where we wanted to expose, and they did. And it was very, very just in your face. Like you press pause, and it's just like, what? Yeah.
And when you looked at the makeup of the bench, this is how small the bench was. It was Turpin with the worst haircut of all time. What is
a couple of weeks for that?
He should get a couple of weeks for the haircut, not the hit.
He's got some mongrel. He's got some dog in him, old Turpin.
I love Turpin. Turpin. Me and him had a beer together at Munster's wedding a couple of years ago. That haircut's that you can tell, and I only met him for maybe 3 or 4 hours at a wedding. We had a good couple of drinks together. Our tables were very close. That haircut best summarizes Turpin. You can tell
there's no other haircut he should have. He end up like this or one of your no. You keep that, Terps, the rest of your life.
He went like he's seen what the Fletchers are doing up at Newcastle, going, yeah, that's dirty, but I'm getting rid of them. I'm getting rid of the Montgomerys. Montgomery's gone. He's got the Lloyd Christmas, aka Lockie Galvin fringe. He's combined all the worst haircuts of all time and gone.
Has he gone down? Has he been living in Alabama or something?
Yeah, I think so. But the bench was Turpin, Blake Taff. Who's the other hooker? Because Hayward started. So, Harry Hayes. And Harry Hayes was their biggest player, and he was, Lipoi or Hopoi got dropped for Taff. Or not dropped, and the reason I thought that, and I brought it up before the game, and it highlights what you're talking about there with Randall. They're going, you know what? We don't need big boys because we're going to move the ruck around and we're going to change direction and we're going to get to the opposite side of the ruck. So what do we want? We want small guys who can move and expose those big boys for South, and that's what they did.
Smart coaching, mate.
Yeah.
That Tallis kid, Tallis Duncan, played good.
He's nice.
He showed like he's been promising for a couple of years now. Run some really good lines on that left, on our right edge, their left.
Yeah. He could be a left edge back rower, eh?
Man, but I don't think he does that if Critter defends there.
Potentially, but it's the same.
Was sort of coming in, and
No. Well, Carraz actually he went down before that. He looked like he pinched a nerve in his neck, and it was a little bit scary there. He was not the same after it.
Okay.
And then Blake Wilson got taken off, and he got moved to the wing so they could bring Taff on him, and they put Sherry over on that side. But this is now 3 or 4 good performances from Tallis Duncan. They had ambitions for him to take over from Cam Murray. I think he might be an edge back row.
No, for sure. I think he's an edge back row.
Mm.
Good pace, runs good lines, good build, fast. I don't mind him. Probably.
All right, mate. Yeah. His best game in a South jersey, I reckon, for this year anyway. That's it for this episode. We'll see you on Wednesday, mate. We're going to be attending the game, and then we'll catch up together, come straight back in the hotel room and film the review from Game 2. So everyone look forward to that on Wednesday night, and we'll see you in a couple of days, mate.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.